Retro Now.
Hey, this is Catherine Tabor, Senator Padme Amidala from Star Wars The Clone Wars, and you're listening to Jay and Dennis on Podcast Stardust. Stay on the light side.
Welcome to Podcast Stardust. This is the fully armed and operational podcast dedicated to Star Wars news, reviews, and discussion. I'm Dennis Keithley.
And I'm Jay Krebs.
It's the weekend and a 3-day weekend coming up here in the States. So we're going to kick it all off with a look at some recent Star Wars news. But before we dive into that, Jay, you want to remind everybody where we can be found on social media, please?
Yeah, so while you're grilling and chilling this weekend, you can check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Podcast Stardust.
All right, the dish is aligned. The signal's boosted to maximum output. The shield is down. We are now broadcasting to the galaxy. So, as we usually do, we're recording this on Thursday night before it comes out on Friday. And as what frequently happens is that we came into the day with very little in the way of Star Wars news. And then Lucasfilm dropped a gift in our laps, Jay, and announced that the production of Star Wars Starfighter has begun. That's actually kind of hard to say. But at any rate, they put up on StarWars.com that the movie has gone into production and they have announced the cast. But before we get to that, I want to read this statement from Sean Levy, which says, "I feel a profound sense of excitement and honor as we begin production on Star Wars Starfighter. From the day Kathy Kennedy called me up, inviting me to develop an original venture in this incredible Star Wars galaxy, this experience has been a dream come true, creative and personally. Star Wars shaped my sense of what story can do, how characters and cinematic moments can live with us forever. To join the storytelling galaxy with such brilliant collaborators on screen and off is the thrill of a lifetime." Love to hear it. So, yeah. So we, of course, we know that the movie is being directed by Sean Levy. It's being produced by Levy, Kathleen Kennedy. The executive producers include Ryan Gosling, Dan Levine, Mary McLaughlin, and Josh McLaughlin, with a script by Jonathan Topper. So I was surprised to hear that this has actually gone into production today. They've been saying November for the longest time. This caught me completely off guard. I was not expecting to see anything about this today.
Oh yeah, but in such a good way. I mean, any news like this that comes out, like you said, is just such a gift. And I absolutely adore what Sean Levy said. You know, as you pointed out, I mean, it's just so wonderful to see and hear someone that is just drinking in the whole cinematic experience of what it is to do Star Wars. And that's something that is just amazing. Love it.
And isn't it also a relief that this movie is in production and not just being talked about here?
Right. Yes,
Yeah,
finally.
I mean, it was awesome when they showed up at Celebration and got on stage and Ryan Gosling was there. I mean, that's a major get, right? And announced all that. And then we heard about Mia Goth being cast opposite him as one of the villains. And then Matt Smith, despite his awkward denial from last week that we talked about. But now there's actually a picture we'll talk about here in a second, and some other actors announced that we'll talk about here in a second. But they're making the movie. And it just always feels like with Star Wars, until they are making the movie, you cannot count on it at all.
Right.
So
true.
So anyway, so let's, it's like I said, I've already mentioned Ryan Gosling, who of course we all know from Barbie, The Fall Guy, The La La Land, and others. And then Matt Smith and Mia Goth are there. Other people that have been announced: Flynn Gray, who appears to be playing the kid that Ryan Gosling's character is set on protecting and delivering somewhere. I had no idea who this guy was, but apparently he's in Wednesday, which I have not seen. He's known for that. Sherlock and Daughter, Rose's War, and Borderline. Are you familiar with Flynn at all?
No, I'm not. I think he's in this year's Wednesday, the newest episodes, and I've not had a chance to watch those yet. I'm a little bit behind, but youngster.
Yeah.
Youngling.
And of course, it's him and Ryan in that black and white photo that they've put on StarWars.com, which I guess they're supposed to be sitting on a speeder of some sort. It's so hard to tell I mean, this
Yeah,
was
black and
brilliant.
white. Mhm.
Yeah, that they gave us a photo from production, but they put it in black and white, and it just is. There's not much to go by here. There's so little speculation you can do with this thing.
But obviously, I mean, the 2 of them are gonna be sharing a lot of screen time, and from what I've gathered, I was doing a little bit of research here and there, is that there's some speculation that he could be playing Ryan Gosling's nephew,
Oh, okay.
so who knows?
We'll have to see on that one. All right. Well, other announcements. We have Aaron Pierre. And this was some coincidental timing. He was the voice of Mufasa, which I just happened to finish watching this morning for the first time. And so, voice of Mufasa in the movie Mufasa, which is the prequel to the Lion King live action prequel. It didn't do particularly well, and I don't think it's all that well regarded, but I enjoyed it. So, anyways, if you're looking for something light to watch, go ahead and check that out. And he's also known for Genius, which was the highest rated thing I could find for him on IMDb. Do you know him from anything at all?
I do not, but he has some piercing blue eyes, I must say.
Yeah, there you go. Also joining the cast is Simon Bird, someone else that I am not particularly familiar with, known for The In-Betweeners, which looks like it was both a series and a couple of movies, and Wicked Little Letters. And I'm just at such loss. I don't know how to talk about these people because I'm just not familiar with their work. But how about Simon? You know anything about him?
No, I'm with you. I was looking at a lot of his pictures, and everything that I see, he's wearing glasses. So I'm wondering if he's going to be, sort of more of a techie kind of guy. That doesn't mean that he's going to be wearing glasses in Star Wars, because there's not very many people that actually wear glasses in Star Wars. Like Tech is about the only one I can actually think of, and there's a few
Yeah.
others here and there, but I mean, it's pretty rare in the Star Wars universe if you think about it.
There's been some reports that there's like a gang of villains. So, everyone after Ryan Gosling and Flynn Gray in the discussion could be a villain for all we know. So we'll have to
Mm.
see. Also joining the cast is Jamail Westman, who is known for Good Grief and The Essex Serpent. He did not have a particularly in-depth IMDb page. So I don't know if that means he's just that much of a newcomer, but I hadn't seen any of those things. By chance, have you?
No, but he did actually play Hamilton in the West End production
Well, there you
of
go.
the play Hamilton. So it's kind of interesting because both he and Ryan Gosling have a lot of, singing and dancing background to them. So that's kind of a very interesting array of actors that they have on set.
Hamilton is quite the stepping off point. That's for certain.
Yes.
Next on the list is Daniel Ings. I like that last name, Ings, known for The Gentleman, and he played Tyrone in The Marvels, which is a role I am familiar with. So, again, without knowing what he's going to be doing and not having a type of character description, I guess there's only so much that can be said, but looks like a welcome addition to the cast.
Yes, and I have to say, I since you're familiar with him through, one of his other works, when I looked up pictures of him, as soon as he popped up, I thought, "Oh my gosh, he could be related to Oscar Isaac." So all
Oh,
I could think of was, I wonder if he could be playing Castameron. I mean, could that be a thing? Could he be playing Poe's dad? Because he is a little older. I mean, I think he's around the same age perhaps as Oscar Isaac is, but some of the pictures that I'm looking at here, he looks more distinguishedly older, I guess you could say.
anything's possible, but this is supposed to be 5 years after the rise of Skywalker.
Right.
So if they were going to go with Kess, I would think they'd get someone who's considerably older than
Mhm.
that because he was a veteran of the Galactic Civil War that we saw in the original trilogy. But I don't know.
Mhm. Yeah, he's got
Anything's
some salt and pepper going on in some of these pictures, so you never know.
all right. And then the last and probably most notable addition to this cast, which completely caught me off guard, Amy Adams,
Yeah.
which we know from American Hustle, The Muppets, Night at the Museum, Battle of the Smithsonian, Enchanted, and Zack Snyder's DCU movies, where she played Lois Lane several times. I had heard nothing about this. I mean, we knew after they talked about casting Matt Smith and Mia Goth that there was lots of comments about casting was ongoing. They're looking for other roles, but I am shocked that they kept this one under so many wraps. That didn't get out there. That Deadline and Vanity Fair, Variety, Hollywood Reporter weren't reporting on this.
Right. No, I totally agree with you. And this is a huge get. I mean, you
Mhm.
talk about, I mean, just between she and Ryan Gosling, the two of them, I mean, that to me makes it an all-star cast.
Yeah, yeah. It's just a
And
little weird because
Henry.
typically Ryan Gosling is a big name, really big name right now, and Star Wars frequently shies away from that. They go with not necessarily newcomers, but certainly a lot bigger, lesser knowns. You know,
Mhm.
time and again. Obviously, there's exceptions. Liam Neeson and Samuel Jackson in the Phantom Menace, but even then, Liam Neeson at the time wasn't the household name that he is now. So, yeah, I just was very, very surprised to see Amy Adams. Like I said, welcome addition. I think that's pretty cool that they got her. Can't wait to see what she's doing. I mean, she's got range. She can do all kinds of things
Oh, for
in
sure.
Star Wars. So bring it on. I cannot wait to see what comes of that.
Yes.
Uh, yeah, but again, this is coming out on May 28th, 2027. So we got Mandalorian and Grogu a year before that. And then, of course, we'll be seeing New Hope in theaters a month before that. So lots of Star Wars goodness in the theaters coming up. I cannot wait.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right. Also, recent Star Wars news over on Disney Plus. So you've got some key art for Visions Volume 3. And this basically is giving us images from the various different shorts. There's 9 of them in total coming out at the end of October. I was really excited to see the Ronin in the upper corner of this. But what did you think about the key art here that they released for Visions, Jay?
So I was going through each one of the individual representations here, and obviously a lot of all of the different episodes are represented, and it's so great once again to see all the different animation studios and all the different styles and things represented. And then we are getting a couple of other characters back that we've
Yeah.
seen before. So we've got F, and then we've got La Cara. So F from The Village Bride and La Cara from The Ninth Jedi coming back. So that's exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. I was excited to see that we're getting some of these back. And then they were really teasing this new one, which is called Black and was previewed at NMA NYC. It's described as a combining stunning imagery. I'm sorry. It's described as combining stunning imagery and music. The experimental shorts presents a psychedelic battle between past and present, light and dark, and life and death, and the haunted psyche of an Imperial stormtrooper on the cusp of defeat. And there was something about this story that suggested that this stormtrooper might be on the Death Star right before it's getting destroyed.
Mm.
But go check out StarWars.com. The still they've got is got like random eyeballs all over it, and you know action, and then like a completely different reflection in the shiny surface of the floor below them. There,
Hmm.
so when they say psychedelic battle, yeah, that's exactly the feel I got from the still that they put on StarWars.com. Did you get a chance to check that one out?
Oh, yeah. And I am so psyched for this because this is something that we've never really seen before. I mean, they say that right in the description, in that there's not going to be any dialogue and it's just going to be totally thrown through this abstract, as you said, like a dreamlike psychedelic kind of visual with music. So that's going to be a fun one to explore.
Yeah. It's interesting, and we talked about this with the previous 2 volumes of Visions, is that it's a mixed bag when you get these. You'll get some that you absolutely love, like the Ronin. I've been really fascinated with that character and loved what we got out of him. But then you get some other stories that are very experimental, and they're just not for you in this. But
Hmm.
they're giving all these studios a chance. Just looking at this key art here, I'm very encouraged. There's lots of lightsabers involved. But then there's this like random bear type creature sitting in the exact middle of it, and I'm just kind of like immediately leery about that. Um,
Hmm.
don't even know what it's about, and I hate to prejudge it, but at the same time, it's just anime captures such a wide variety of. I don't want to say it exactly that way. I was going to say styles, but that's not right because anime is a style, but different types of storytelling, I guess, and just not all of them are for me, but you get one that's great and you just get completely absorbed by it.
Oh, no, and I think that that's part of the point to Visions as well, and that's the whole reason why it's called Visions is just because of the fact that it's such a diverse type of storytelling, and that, not every episode or every edition of the animation is going to hit with everybody, and that's okay. I mean, there's definitely some, huge kind of like almost caricature of Star Wars, if you will, as you mentioned with that little bear. I think that's a good way to put it.
Mhm.
Um, some people even kind of called some of the, ways that things were portrayed almost as a, disrespect to some of the storytelling, but you can't, I mean, it's not canon, so we can't look at
Right.
it as such. And so, there is that. But yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I know in Vision season 2, there were some kind of quirky things. I was like, yeah, this is not for me, or seemed very, very childlike. And I want to be very careful when I say that, because I don't want to trump on anyone's creativity. But again, it's okay. Not everything is for everybody.
Yeah, yeah, and I think you're right. I mean, it's not canon. It's not intended to be canon. It is a Star Wars inspiration, and then you get these creators who have an opportunity to tell their own version of a Star Wars story using that inspiration there. And I love that idea.
Hmm.
Just sometimes it works better than others. I mean, the idea behind Ronin, that there are these Sith that attempted to rebel against an emperor and his Jedi guardians there. That's what we got out of the Ronin book, of course. And then things went badly,
Right.
and then so the Ronin's hunting down all of his former Sith. That's the backstory that we get from that book that then goes on to fuel all these stories that we're to see on screen, and that's fantastic. That really
Hmm.
works. But then you get like the little rock opera episode, which
Right.
I could have left far behind, and I'm sure there's some people who absolutely love that. The Nine Jedi, another good one that I'm looking forward to seeing the follow up on that one as well. So, yeah, we'll be looking for that at the end of October. Okay, I don't know what to make of this, but I'm sure we'll have a good discussion about it. While speaking with The Guardian, John Williams admits that he is not a fan of film music. More specifically, he said, I never liked film music very much. Film music, however good it can be, and it usually isn't, other than maybe an 8-minute stretch here and there, I just think the music isn't there. That what we think of as this precious great film music is remembering in some kind of nostalgic way. Just the idea that film music has the same place in the concert hall as the best music in the canon is a mistaken notion, I think. This coming from the guy who has 5 Academy Awards and 53 nominations. I,
Hmm.
I, look, I'll let you talk about this in just a second, but far be it from me to who am I to disagree with the maestro here? But I mean, I find that music far more accessible. I find this a very interesting comment coming from the guy who, when he was bringing more popular type music to the Boston Pops, was getting in fights with his orchestra
Hmm.
here. I mean, he seemed to embrace it. So I'm wondering, maybe I need to go back and find more of this interview, because we're only getting this excerpt. This is what's going around on the news right now, and see what exactly he was being asked about and if there's any more context to this. But this is kind of shocking to me, Jay. What do you think about this?
Well, I've been seeing this story all over the socials, and I'm wondering if some of it isn't being taken a little out of context. Because when he talks about film music, I'm not exactly sure if he means all music that is found in films. Because, as you
Mhm.
said, I mean, this is the maestro, this is the man who has brilliantly composed all of this beautiful music for countless pieces of cinematic history. But, when he says film music, I think he's talking a little bit more of the fragmented sounds, and, like the bump, 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 which he did use
Right.
some of that kind of thing.
Mhm.
But, and again, to your point, the concert hall is a completely different style of music as film music, quote unquote. So I'm wondering if what he means by that is that he's not as excited about the sound effect type of music that is found in films, not that he just doesn't like film music. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, and there's probably something to that. One of the comments that we've made on this podcast a number of times is that one of the things we love about John Williams' music is that it stands on its own.
Right.
And you can listen to his score outside of it, and it isn't just a mood sound that's behind there. It highlights the action. And in fact, it's impossible to think of certain parts of Star Wars movies without hearing the music behind it while you do that. And so, yes, there's something in the nostalgia that he's talking about, but beyond his work, yeah, I can think of the Back to the Future theme, the Avengers theme, the Pirates of the Caribbean theme, the soundtrack for How to Train Your Dragon. I have so many music soundtracks, from the likes of Hans Zimmer, John Powell, Ludwig Göransson, and the likes. There's tons of them out there that write really great music that I think are following in the tradition that he started. And so I'm also wondering if there isn't maybe an era he's talking about, because
Mhm.
he redefined film music. Before him, it really was much more of there was that whole wave in the 70s of synth music for movies
Right,
and stuff like that.
right.
And it being just more of an accent piece than it was a standalone piece there.
Mhm. Exactly. And, I mean, the man has more Oscar nominations than literally any other human being on the face
Except
of
for
the
Walt
planet.
Disney.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, but for
Yeah.
music, and, so, I'm sure just from watching the documentaries that we saw, I mean, he did have a very complex relationship with music in general, and
Mhm.
as much as he loved it, there were some things that he did struggle with, so I wonder if
Yeah.
some of this kind of stems from, some of those experiences as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm going to have to dive into the interview and see. There's got to be more to it because he's made an entire career out of film music. So for him not to
Right.
like it, that's really something. Okay. Last story we've got is really just more of an update, and that is on the HASLAB LAAT gunship that they are currently trying to get backers for. As of the day of release, there's about 10 days left to go. And as of the time of this recording, which was there's 11 days left, it currently has 3,890 backers, which puts it 110 shy of halfway to its target of 8,000 to put this in production.
Hmm.
I think it's actually got a pretty good shot. What I've typically learned in these crowdfunding things is that if you can get halfway there in the last week, you're probably going to pick up the rest of your backers there.
Like
It's
eBay, huh?
Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
there's a lot of people that just aren't going to do it until it's like, oh, I'm out of time. I got to do this type
Yeah,
of a thing.
sure.
And the most successful ones will clear that hurdle earlier. So, this clearly isn't as popular an idea as, say, the Razor Crest or Java's Sail Barge, and the like, which, easily cleared their backing and then got into their stretch goals, right off the bat. But anyway, I'm including this in the news as much as a public service announcement for anyone who might be considering it as anything. But yeah, what do you think? You think it's going to make it?
I'd like to see it make it. I'm always really excited by these when they
Mhm.
do, just because for those that want these types of things and they have the room to display them and it's part of what they like to do as a collector, I think it's really awesome. So, yeah, maybe that eBay mentality will kick in here in these last 10 days and people will get in right before the buzzer.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to do one more news episode. Yeah, we'll be about on one news episode left before it closes on its funding. So we will try to
Mhm,
include an update next week as well. But hey, get on it if this is something that you're interested in. You're running out of
mhm.
time, so go make it happen.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's it. That's this week's Star Wars news. It was really fun getting to talk about the production of Starfighter. Like I said at the time, I just was not expecting that. So that really made my Thursday, and I hope it made everyone else's week as well. But thank you all for joining us for this episode of Podcast Stardust and our weekly discussion of Star Wars news. We hope you enjoyed it, and if so, go ahead and subscribe to the podcast if you haven't done so already, and then you'll get our weekly news episodes as they come out. And we'd greatly appreciate it if you go ahead and rate and review the show on your podcatcher, especially if that is Apple Podcasts. And then, of course, you can find our entire back catalog of shows over on retrozap.com. Jay, you want to go ahead and remind everybody one more time what our social media contacts are and where else we can be found online?
You got it, Dennis. We are on Instagram and Facebook at Podcast Stardust. And we also have our Pinterest boards and our YouTube channels, which includes the traditional YouTube as well as YouTube Music. And then you can also hit Podcast Stardust up on TeePublic, where we have 7 different show logo designs available on all kinds of things, from t-shirts and sweatshirts to coffee mugs and tote bags and even wall hanging. So check that out in the link in our show notes.
Okay, upcoming on the show. On Monday, we are getting into the next episode of the Clone Wars as we continue our rewatch. And then on Wednesday, we are beginning a discussion of the final novel of the High Republic, which is Trials of the Jedi by Charles Soule. And we've already recorded that episode, and it is one heck of a conversation. So make sure you stick around for that. With all that having been said, thanks for listening to episode 932 of Podcast Stardust, everyone. Have a great weekend. Enjoy our Labor Day. And until next time, may the Force